Hello, I'm Ryan, co-founder of AnswerThis. I'm going to show you how you can use AnswerThis to go from just starting your research to making a full citation-backed paper all within one place. Although AnswerThis has so many advanced features to find, analyze, and synthesize sources, today I'm going to show you AnswerThis's main AI interface where you can go and make anything from literature reviews to research proposals to citation-backed answers from research questions. Once you sign in to AnswerThis, you'll come to a screen like this. You have your quick Q&A model here and the full review model here. Within the full review, it'll give you a much more comprehensive answer and be able to create literature reviews, research proposals, whereas quick Q&A is great for citation-backed answers to research questions that you may have, such as finding research gaps. I highly recommend that you start down here with Prompt Helper. You can find out all the different features the AnswerThis has. We could generate a research outline, could generate a research proposal, find research gaps, perform quantitative analysis, and everything we need here. So for now, I'm going to say write a literature review on. Here, I've just said how advanced will AI models get. We can simply enter, and there we go. Our prompt is ready to go. Now, I'm going to select full review for my model to create a full literature review. And next, we can press this button here to access more filters. From here, we can add more sections to our literature review. We can go all the way up to 10 if we need. We can also create subsections. And very interestingly, if you want to create specific sections and have AnswerThis cover different topics, you can also list what topics you want covered here as well. Next, we get to adjust the filters for our papers. First thing we can do is adjust the minimum amount of citations that is included within the research paper that AnswerThis pulls. We can also adjust for journal quality. If we want a really high journals, we can do Q1. If we want to just include all of them, we can also slide it all the way to the right here as well. Next, we get to pick our publication types. If we want just journal articles, we can select just that, or we can do preprints, book and chapters, or if we really want to, we can select all of them. And next, we go down to our research database. Again, we have different options: Semantic Scholar, OpenAlex, PubMed, which is great for medical, and ArcSiv. We can also select all of them if we want as well. And here we can also include web searches if we wish. We can filter this by government or EDU, and we can also include patents as well. Additionally, we also have a library option. Now, AnswerThis has a library where you can enter sources of your own from Zotero, Mendeley, BibTeX that you may have, or from papers within AnswerThis. We go through the library in a different section, but for now, let's continue. The last thing that we can do is change the publication date. We can set it to say 2020 if we want recent papers, or if we want to find those key papers that might have been made in 1950s or 60s, we can also select an end date here as well. But for now, I'm just going to submit search. And as we can see, just like that, AnswerThis has produced an entire literature review and has broken it down into sections. We can read it through here. It gives us an introduction. As you can see, it's given us models like GPT-4, PaLM-2. If we keep on scrolling down, we also see an entire table. AnswerThis produces this in a lot of literature reviews. Super handy when you're trying to find specific details related to specific events or people. And here we can keep on reading methodology. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see that 34 sources were used. We have our little bibliography down at the bottom here where we can see all our citations. We can also change our citation style to 2,600 plus citations by pressing this button at the bottom. We can also do this by clicking on the right here, but we can change it to APA. And as you can see, all the citations have updated. Now, say we're reading through this, and I'm just reading, I'm saying integration of AI with emerging technologies, including blockchain, internet of a lot of things. And I'm like, wow, this sentence is very handy. First thing I can do is I can highlight this, add it to the notebook. We'll go into a little bit more of what this means, but we'll add it, we'll save it to a notebook like this where we can keep all our valuable information. And if we click on the citation, it'll bring us right down to the citation that was used. We can read the authors, see the number of citations that were used, there's 32 here, when it was made, and we can also save this to a library. We can create a new one by saying create new project if you don't have a library yet, or you can select one of the previous libraries that you've made here. So I can save it to my Zotero library if I wish, just like that. On the left-hand side, we also see this option. If we click it, it will full screen our literature review. So it's a little bit easier on the eyes, and for things like the table, we don't have to scroll here. And if we scroll to the very bottom, we will also see our papers section in a table format. From here, we can see our sources in this column table-like format, where we have the source information on the left, of the abstract of the source in the middle, and then on the right, we can also add columns. So say we find a paper that we like we seen earlier, and we wanted to find research gaps that that paper identified within our space. We can simply go here, press research gaps, and any of these other options that we can see here. Additionally, if none of the options like methodology, limitations are good for you, you can also type in your own prompt here as well. And just like that, you can see the research gaps has now been made into this new column. We can keep on reading. We can see the different research gaps that exist within these papers. And if we scroll to the very top, we can actually export this into a CSV, which will maintain the columns as well as break down authors, citations, and a lot of other valuable information that we'd like to keep. We can also select different papers that we like. We can export them into our Zotero. We can also do that to our Mendeley, as well as export into a BibTeX. Talking about sources, we can actually select multiple of these and do all of the options, which I had said before. And if we scroll to the very top, we can save this directly to our library. We can also add these to the notebook that we had made earlier. As you can see, it'll look like this in a notebook. And if we go back, we can also filter these papers based on the amount of citations that they use or when they were published, as well as keywords that were mentioned in the abstract. A great way to adjust our tables to the exact papers that we want. So we can just put in 2020 here. And if I scroll down, click apply, now we only have papers from 2020 and beyond. And the special thing about this is if we have all the papers that we need within this table, we can then go to add the next step and create a new table with just these papers. We'll go into more about what we can do with the add next step on the next section of these tutorials, but it's a handy thing to do. The final things I want to show you here is the ability to sort the table by A to Z. We can also do most citations or publication date if we wish. And on the right hand side, we have this handy navigation where we can jump up and down between the different material that we have within this canvas. But we want to explore all these next steps that we have, how to use the follow-up questions, and so much more in the next section. So let's jump on into the next section.